Okay, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the call. Super excited about what's happening in Sisel at the moment. So, got Dr. Curt on the line. He's actually in Melbourne today.
I am here. Thanks, Katie. What a great time to be in Sisel, isn't it?
Yep, fantastic.
It is super fantastic. Every day I when I give my presentation, I get that much more fired up. I want to take notes on myself.
Wow. It is exciting information to be sharing.
Yeah, and I wrote my presentation, and when I practiced it at home, Katie, it took me the first time I did it, it took me 2 hours, and I thought, oh no, I can't talk for 2 hours. People don't want to listen to me for 2 hours. And so then I backed off, and I got it down to an hour and 15 minutes. And then Tom said to me, Curt, he said, you got to talk about this new coronavirus thing. And so I added that slide in there. And then Tom contacted me, and he said, Curt, he said, you got to talk about this new product, give a little bit more information. And he sent me like 90 hours of information. I mean, honestly, I'll tell you, Katie, I mean, it really, if you read all the science that Tom sent me, my presentation would be 90 hours long.
Well, it's amazing. The science is absolutely incredible.
Yep. And so I cut it down. And honestly, when I do the presentation now, including about a half hour of testimonials, the whole presentation takes about 2 hours.
Wow. So we're really excited because we're going to see it tomorrow in Melbourne.
Yeah, where is it tomorrow?
It's at Chadstone, so the Matthew Flinders. So apparently Chadstone's meant to be like central location, no matter which direction you come from across Melbourne. And so, yeah, Chadstone's not that far from the city where you are. So it's about 20 minutes out. And yeah, super excited. So that's at 4 to 7 p.m. tomorrow at the Matthew Flinders Hotel.
Matthew Flinders, Flinders.
Yes.
Not Flounders.
No.
Flinders.
Yeah, Flinders.
Flinders.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, super. And that's the same location we've been at the last 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I think it's kind of good to have it at the same location because then people get familiar with it. And then if they've been there once before, they won't get lost and stuff.
Yeah. And they can have it in their GPS or whatever. Now, is that the same location that you, when Liesel and Aaron and whenever anybody from corporate comes down, it's the same location for that too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's, how many people can we fit in there?
300.
300?
Yeah, a lot. We can fit a lot. There's plenty of room.
So there's room for me to bring guests.
Yeah.
So, everybody that's on this call, everybody that's listening to the recording, if you heard what we just said, please bring a guest.
Yes. Bring a guest, definitely. Really important.
Katie, everybody's been bringing guests. When I was in Brisbane, about a third of the people in the presentation were guests, and about another third were members that just joined in the last year.
Wow. And
another third were members that have been with Sisel for a short time. So think about that. 2/3 are just finding out about what Sisel's doing. Wow. That was in Brisbane. And when we were in Adelaide, about half the room was guests, and the other half were distributors like us.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Perth, now I didn't have a big crowd in Perth, but in Perth, 2/3 were guests.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And over in Auckland, I would say about half the members were guests. Yeah. So we've been having some really good turnout. I'm telling you, really good excitement and lots of questions afterwards. The big question that people want to know is when they're a guest, you want to know what the big question is?
What's that?
How do I join?
Great.
How do I join?
So,
Rennie from Canada. She's in Canada. She's brought the most guests to all the events.
Yes, and I would love to get her on the call and talk about how she invited people to the event, because I know that all the people she invited, Dr. Curt, were from Facebook, and so she's really skilled at using Facebook and talking to people, and that would just be fantastic to share with everyone.
Yep. So maybe next week we can get Rennie on to share that and talk about that. Yeah. I mean, it's always fun, you know. And I can't believe all of you in Australia are going to let a Canadian beat you.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
think about it. She is going to win 2 bottles of the new product,
Wow.
and she's not even in the country.
Wow.
You got, you know, you guys have one more time, one more meeting tomorrow
Yep.
to beat Canada.
Yeah.
It's like the Olympics. Are you
Hmm.
going to let Canada take the gold?
No.
Huh?
No way.
No way. Come
there's
on.
there's some people tomorrow that are bringing quite a few guests, so we'll see. So it's pretty exciting. So what was the feedback? I saw that you were posting some of it on Facebook. People were really grateful for your event and really pleased that they went and heard the information.
Yeah. You know, all I've gotten is good feedback. I haven't had anybody that wants to punch me in the face or anything yet.
Yeah,
They
fantastic.
like it. They like it, you know, and I keep hearing from feedback from the people that brought guests that their guests are joining. I haven't had anybody tell me that I chased any of their guests away. I
Hmm.
mean, we even had one guest that left the meeting early in Adelaide, and he came back and joined the next day.
Wow, fantastic.
I mean, he left early and still joined.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, yeah, and so it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I'll tell you, Katie, I enjoy coming down here. Australia, great bunch of people. New Zealand, I'll tell you, Curt, Susan, um, thank you for having me there. Tim, thanks for having me there, and just making me feel super welcome. And I got to do a tour of Auckland. Have you toured Auckland before?
I've been there a couple times, but yeah, so tell us about it.
Oh man, I got to see a lot of the city. We
Hmm.
got to do the ferry out to the island. I got kind of a history of Auckland, you know, because Susan's friend Riwa, he grew up there. He grew up right in Auckland, and so he was telling me from, you know, what it looked like 60 years ago till today.
Wow.
If you haven't been to Auckland, what a beautiful city. It's a relatively new city because it was, I mean, it was just a small city, you know, 50 years ago,
Hmm.
and all of a sudden it's just sprouted up. House prices are going up, and then of course I got to see the hobbits, where the hobbits live.
Oh yeah, we saw those photos. For anyone who's on the call or listening to the recording, if you receive Dr. Curt's newsletter, he's included some photos from his trip in there. There's also a picture of a koala.
Yeah, I was actually up at a lookout tower, a fire lookout tower by Adelaide, and people were taking photographs of this tree. So I had to go find out what kind of tree it was,
Hmm.
and it was a koala tree.
Oh wow,
Yeah, there was a koala like just out of arm's reach, sleeping up in the branches.
fantastic.
Yeah, they say those things sleep 20 hours out of a day,
Wow.
right?
Yeah, it's
20 hours,
amazing.
20 hours a day, and so they're only awake. They're only awake 4 hours during the day,
Right,
and so I got to sleep. I got to see it during its 20-hour sleeping period.
right. Fantastic.
Yeah, but you know, Katie, I think everybody's super excited about what we're sharing. Um, you know, I think my main message is this. My main message, and I'm going to tell you. I mean, you'll be at the presentation. I'm not going to give you the presentation here on the call today, but I'm just going to say this: anti-aging as an industry has been growing for the last 10 or 20 years. When I got started 20 years ago, it was in the infancy stages. You know, I think it was still in the conception stages. You know,
Hmm.
still in the womb,
Yeah.
and it's gradually built from that till now, where all of a sudden, I mean, you can see it. The wave is coming. The momentum has hit in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul St. Pilzer, you know who Paul St. Pilzer is, right?
Yeah, he's an economist, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an economist. He's a numbers guy. He's a numbers cruncher. And 10 years ago, he predicted that the anti-aging movement would be the next trillion-dollar industry.
Wow.
Right? Do you know what? There's been $2 trillion industries in the history of the world. Do you know what they are?
Pharmaceuticals?
Nope.
Oh. Arms.
Guess again. I'll give you a clue. You have a little red one.
Cars.
Cars. Yeah, cars. That was the first $1 trillion industry. It was the first $1 trillion industry where people are spending money, $1 trillion to buy cars. What's the second industry that is $1 trillion? We're on one right now. We're talking on one.
The internet.
Computers.
Computers. Okay, good.
Yep, computers. So the automobile industry and the computer industry are the first $2 trillion industries.
Oh, wow.
In the history of the world. And they were driven primarily by the baby boomers.
Wow.
Right? People my age, I'm on the bottom end of the baby boomers. I'm 57 years old. I was born in 1962. We're considered to be the bottom end of the baby boomers. And we've driven the market. You know, when the automobile market hit, I mean, everybody just had to have a car, and I've got 50 of them. But you know, so I make up for those people that don't have any. But you know, you take a look at the industry. Everybody has to have a car, and then all of a sudden, the computer industry, you know, back in the 70s, you know, I learned about computers. I learned about computer programming. I took classes on computer programming. And then I learned about it when I was in engineering college. And they, you know, then I was like, oh, that's going nowhere. Computers are going nowhere.
Really?
Can you believe I said that?
You thought computers are going nowhere?
That's what I said. That was my statement. Because I was pretty good at computer programming. And I told the head of the computer department at the college, I said, yeah, I said, those computers, that's going nowhere.
Oh, I bet you people say that about age reversal too.
Yeah, that's what they said about that too. And so now age reversal, according to Paul St. Pilzer, is the next $1 trillion industry. And again, driven by who?
The baby boomers.
Baby boomers. We don't want to get any older. We don't want to die. We don't want to go out without a big bang. We all want to live to 120, and we all want to live, and we don't want to act or feel or look old. You know, when I'm 120, I want to still look like I'm 60.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't? Like, you don't want to feel old and, you know, suffer pain and have disease and not have your mobility and all those terrible things. You want to be able to enjoy life still.
Yep. And you know, and people ask me, they say, yeah, but you know, there's so many companies. I mean, you can hear the whiny voices, can't you, Katie? Where they're like, oh, but there's so many companies out there that say that they have the product. I mean, you know what makes Sisel so credible?
We have Tom and Tom Jr., and they're both 2 times Genius Award winners, and they have their own research and development laboratory, and you know, they know how to develop and formulate really high quality products. And Tom loves to produce what he considers the best on the market because he can. That's
right. And he just got appointed to the board of the World Congress of Stem Cells. And I tell people, I say, I mean, think about that. He's sitting on the iconic board of the World Congress of Stem Cells. And everybody else that sits on that board, Katie, from what I understand, now I might be wrong, but from what I understand, everybody that sits on the board, they're just scientists. They don't develop products. They don't formulate products. Tom formulates products because his knowledge, he doesn't really do research, right? People say, oh, where's your white papers? Where are your scientific papers? And we're not that kind of a facility. We're not that kind of a company.
Mm.
We don't do research. What we do is we take that research and we make practical, applicable products that you can use every day. So we teach people how to use the science.
Yeah, amazing. It just,
It,
it just,
it really is.
yeah, it just gives Sisel so much credibility, Tom credibility. You know, it shows that we have super high quality products to, you know, because of all of these things that we've just discussed. It's incredible. And it actually makes me think about a story, I guess a little bit of a story I can share. And we were talking about this the other day. You know, I wanted to purchase something. It was a supplement that's not available. It's not in the Sisel line at all. Anyway, so I went out to have a look and purchased this particular thing. And when we were having discussion, I was really concerned about who manufactures it. You know, I don't want to just buy anything because you want to know who's manufacturing the product, because you know anything can go into that product. You know, they can say what the label says that it's this, but how do you know it's not contaminated? It doesn't have heavy metals. It is actually what it says it is, and that's why I love the Sisel product so much, is because we know we're actually getting what's on the label. And the other important thing is, which we've also discussed, is Tom quarantines all ingredients, raw ingredients that come into the facility for 90 days. And that's what you were telling me. And that's to make sure that, you know, it doesn't grow any mold, or, you know, there isn't anything that appears, you know, after the 90 days, it shouldn't be there. And then once it's been sat for 90 days, then they test every single batch. Because, you know, if you get an ingredient from a supplier and you're a regular customer of that supplier, you know, you really should be testing every single batch, because you might get 5 batches and they're all great, but on the 6th one, it's not okay. There's something wrong with it and you have to send it back. So unless you've got very stringent processes in place of high, you know, to maintain the quality of the product, you know, something could slip through into that product and it could be contaminated, and you could be taking a supplement if you're buying it from another company. How do you know that it doesn't have a little bit of lead in it or a little bit of arsenic that's made it in through the process? So that's why I love the Sisel products. And it just, you know, I get really nervous about using anything else. You know, and I'd only do that if there was something that we didn't have, obviously, but because I want to make sure what I'm taking is not actually going to harm me and do me some good. So I've just started thinking about that, Curt, and I was thinking about all those people that go out and buy all those products from the chemist and different shops. Have you actually, I wondered, have they actually done any research into who's manufacturing it and how, you know, what their process is? Because on a lot of the labels, they say, oh, they might say packaged in Australia, ingredients sourced from China. Well, okay, well, which lab in China? Are they testing it? Are you testing it? So we don't know any of that information. So, and wasn't there a study done to show that products were contaminated and they didn't have what they said were in it?
Yeah, there's a lot of companies, like you said, they're actually not doing any of that kind of testing at all. They buy their raw ingredients and they put it in there and they say, oh yeah, that's what's in there. But really, you know, like they found out with when they did that study with the New York State's Attorney or Attorney General's office a couple of years ago. You remember that? You remember when they
Yeah.
came out with that? And they studied, like, I don't remember how many different. I think it was like close to 100 different nutritional products, and they found out that out of the 100 of them, over 90%, over 90 of them were contaminated or didn't contain what the label said they contained.
Oh,
And and there was a study that was done back in the 80s that said the same thing. And at that time, you know, it was the Minneapolis Star Tribune that had done a study, and they found that some of the companies had zero of the
wow.
ingredients that were listed on the label, and some of the companies had ingredients that were dangerous that weren't listed on the label because they, you know, I mean, you got these companies that jump in and they just want to have an us too type product, and they say, oh yeah, we got that, and they really don't. But then on top of it, they add you know, adulterated type of drugs to the product to make it seem like they have something that works. You know, like one product I remember back from that study from Minneapolis Star Tribune, they added ingredients like ground up aspirin to the product to make it so it had seemed like it had pain relieving qualities to it,
Oh my God.
right?
Wow.
And so they would trick you into thinking, oh yeah, this is good for you. And you just look at stuff like that, Katie, and you go, you know, I wish that the field was more regulated. The one nice thing about Sisel is that we have this GMP C, which is certified. We have GMP certified, so good manufacturing processes. And what that is that's the highest standard that's given by the FDA
Hmm.
to a
Yeah.
nutritional company.
Yeah.
It's like they're applying the same standards that they apply to a drug company, and they're applying it to a nutritional company.
Yeah. That's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It
Definitely.
really is. It really is because it to us consumers, we want to know that we're getting something that's going to be effective. When it says here's what's in the product, if that's what's on the label, you darn well better have that in the label. You better not have anything else in the product that's going to harm me or my family.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, a lot of the products too, the generic ones, it won't even tell you who's manufactured. It'll say the brand name, and then it'll say manufactured by, and may not even actually say the manufacturer. I know something I bought recently, it didn't even have who the manufacturer was. To find out, you have to go back and contact the company and start going digging and spend quite a bit of time to find that out. And they're not forthcoming with that information. Whereas Sizzle's forthcoming. I mean, you can go to their to YouTube and watch a tour of the manufacturing processes, and you can see how high quality they are, and all the standards they have in place, and it's incredible. It's so transparent. You can't find that out about other companies.
That's right. You know, Katie, I'll just tell you a story about I was at a nutritional webinar or nutritional seminar. It wasn't a webinar. It was a seminar in
Hmm.
Minneapolis. And I won't tell who put on this seminar or anything like that, but I was there, and it was a nutritional seminar. And in the back of the room, they had like these little baskets of like snack bars, and I looked at the label, and on the front it said organic.
Yeah.
And I went and sat down thinking, oh, I'm getting an organic, and I'm thinking, this is a nutritional, seminar, so it's going to be good. And I sat down, I started crunching on the thing and eating it, and it tastes like granola, and with some honey and stuff in it like that. And I'm sitting there and listening to the speaker, but at the same time, you know how people are. You start reading the label, you're listening to the speaker, but at the same time you're reading. And I'm reading the label, and all of a sudden I got to the part where it said, made by, and it told me who it was made by. And I'm not going to name the company because I don't want to ever get in trouble for that. But it was a large food company, and on the label it said organic, but then in little tiny print it says when available,
uh,
right?
when
So
available, never.
yeah, when available. So that's their disclaimer, is that on the front it says organic, and then on the back it says when available. And you go, how can they even do that? How can they lie to people like that?
It's very deceptive.
you know and so the other day, actually I think it was Rennie that asked me. She said that she had somebody that that asked about our products, and that person said, well, I don't want to buy those products because it doesn't say organic on the label.
Hmm.
And I told Rennie, I said, well, that's because Tom isn't going to pay the organic and whatever group to use their organic label, when really it means nothing.
Mm.
It means nothing, because if all these big corporations, without naming names, can use it and then put when available on the label, it's like
Well,
what does it mean? What does it
yeah.
mean? Does it mean anything?
Well, that's true, but the thing is about organic, the two defining qualities is, one is you expect it's not contaminated with pesticides or anything like that. And so when Tom gets ingredients, they check to make sure they're not contaminated. And if they are, they discard them. And then the other thing about organic is that it's a high quality. Generally speaking, you would expect that, organic produce has a higher nutritional content than non organic. And when Tom gets ingredients in to make the products, he makes sure that they use things like thin line chromatography to make sure that the ingredients are of the same standard, high quality every single time. So you're already checking those two boxes. And in fact, a lot of the ingredients Tom uses are organic. I've heard him talk about, Sisel Lean, that's made from organic cow's milk. But in addition to sourcing organic ingredients, they make sure that they're not contaminated and they are of high quality. So you're already checking those two boxes.
Yep. So, and that's the whole thing. I mean, we are organic, and we truly are organic, versus just saying we're organic. It's just that, like Tom says, why pay for the label when they're going to sell the same label to these companies who use ingredients that aren't organic? Because, when ours are and theirs aren't. So that's why, we came up with our own label, and that's Sizzle Safe.
Yeah.
And that's actually a higher standard than any other label that's out there.
Yeah. And Tom has an excellent reputation for producing safe products. There's even a book written on his the previous company saying it was the safest personal care products in the world, according to the Cancer Coalition, Samuel Epstein. And so he's renowned for, creating very safe products. And he's always done that and continues to do that to this day. So, yeah, it's a pretty unique situation we've got. I think you can't get more trust than that. I don't know any other manufacturer that goes to these levels of standards. And, yeah, another reason to love it.
Right on. And the products work. I mean, Katie, everywhere that I've gone, when I was in Brisbane, we had so many people that wanted to give up and tell their story, tell their testimonial. Have you seen those photos of Jade, of Sandy and Paul's son?
Yeah. I think you posted him.
When he walked by the door, he was trying to get by the door without me seeing him. When he walked by the door, I'm like, I had to look twice, and I said, Jade, come in here. The kid, well, I say kid, he's not a kid, he's adult, but he went from being just a scrawny little guy to now, it would blow you away, Katie.
Yeah, I saw the photos. They are amazing. He gained, 20 kilos or something because he was having trouble.
25 kilos, yeah, in a year he's gained. And it's all muscle.
Wow.
And he's been using the Sizzle Rip. He's been using the Sizzle Rip twice a day. He inspired me. I'm gonna go home and start using that twice a day now.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I use it twice a day.
Do you?
Yeah.
Let's see your biceps. Hold your arms up. Come on, look at that. Do that again.
No, it's embarrassing. No, it's a great product. Actually, Marsha shared a really good testimonial, and she said that. Or she shared it with me the other day. We were talking about the importance of protein in the diet and, making sure you get enough. And, the Sizzle Rip will really help because it's got those branch chain amino acids in the right combination for maximum absorption in the right ratios. And she said since she had been taking it, she started noticing muscle definition in her arms.
Yep. Yeah, and you can see it on her as well. Yeah, some great testimonials. And then we went to Auckland. We had some great testimonials there. Curt shared that he had been talking to a young gentleman. I think he was 18 or 19 years old, and he got him taking the Sizzle Ripped as well. Yeah. And he showed photos of the young guy, and his testimony was just as great as Jade's and Marsha's. And then we had Susan told her story, and Tim. And then we got to Adelaide, and in Adelaide, Mary Ann shared that she had fibromyalgia, and she had Parkinson's disease, and she was talking about the different medications that the doctors had her on, and then she started taking Sizzle products, and we can't make any medical claims, but I'll just say this: she's no longer using her walker anymore, right? Wow. Right. And she talks clearly, and she was sharing that story. And so I got up after she got done doing her testimonial, and I shared this. I said, did you know that the medication for Parkinson's can cause fibromyalgia, and the medications for fibromyalgia can cause Parkinson's.
Oh, wow.
And she was totally surprised at that because she didn't know that. Of course, her doctor didn't share that. And I'm guessing the reason he didn't share it's not because he wanted just, to hold back that information. I'll put money on it. I would bet $100 right now. Her doctor probably didn't know that the medications for fibromyalgia cause Parkinson's and the medication for Parkinson's cause fibromyalgia. He didn't know there was even a connection.
Wow. Yeah. Well, there's some amazing stories.
Yep. And we had a couple great testimonials there. And then over in Perth, we had some great testimonials. And how many testimonials do you have lined up tomorrow?
2, 3, 4, 5.
4 or 5? Yeah. And I bet there's actually probably another 4 or 5 that will jump up and tell stories. So that's the part that I can't control when I say, I know how long it takes me to do my presentation, but I don't know how long the testimonials are going to take.
That's fine. They're real stories people are sharing and sharing their experience, and it always brings value and it's uplifting and it's wonderful to hear great stories. I mean, we want that positivity.
And what I like about stories, Katie, is that, facts tell. I can sit here and I can give you so much science that I can make your mind spin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I shared everything that Tom shared with me on the products, we'd be sitting here for days, and you'd walk away and you'd say to yourself, I mean, you'd literally say to yourself, you'd say, I can't learn that. And then you wouldn't do the business.
Right.
But what I love about stories is stories sell, because I can remember stories. Like I said, I can repeat Curt's story. I can repeat Susan's story. I can repeat Tom's story and Tim's story and Jade's. And I mean, I can repeat everybody's story because it sticks in my mind.
Yeah.
And then I can just revert back to the recordings that we make. And I can say, here's the science to back it up.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. It's a fantastic business to be in, and like I said, I think that we're on the front of this momentum for the not for, I think for Sisel as well, but I think we're on the front of this momentum for the anti-aging industry.
Oh.
And if we push Sisel, we can push Sisel into this momentum as well.
Oh, definitely. And I just, just before we finish up, want to say that I cannot wait to hear the testimonials that are going to come from the new product. I mean, that is going to be incredible because we love our testimonial calls. So we're going to get some really great testimonials.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like what you said, Sisel's really at the forefront of the age reversal industry. And as far as I know, there's only one other competitor to the new product at the moment. And I've heard Tom say that the ingredients in the other product aren't even at the dose required to be therapeutic amount. And
they have one
times.
ingredient, and they're only giving you about a quarter of what you actually need to be taken, and they only give one ingredient, and they're almost as expensive as what our products should have cost. Katie, Tom shared with me the other day, and I was so excited when he shared it with me on Tuesday. He shared this with me. He said that since I started coming down to Australia, and I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but Tom said since I've been coming down here for the last 2 years, volume has gone up 4 times.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And then Lisa was sharing this morning. Didn't she share that Australia and New Zealand is the fastest growing branch of Sisel right now?
Yeah, fantastic.
My goal is and I'll tell you this, Katie, that my goal is to help drive your volume, the volume all across Australia. I don't care if you're even on my team. My goal is that I want to see Australia. I want to see Sisel Australia having more volume than Sisel America.
Oh yeah, and I think us Aussies and Kiwis know that we can be bigger and better than the US.
I think so too. And you're so competitive that you'll do it. I mean, that's the one thing that I notice about being in Australia. I mean, like everywhere I go, people say, "Well, how many people they have at that meeting?" And I tell them, they say, "Oh, we can do better than that." And then everybody gets on the phone and they start dialing up. You know, like when I was over in Brisbane, I know how many people were there. So then I get to Adelaide, and Adelaide, first thing they want to know is how many people did they have in Brisbane. You know, we're going to try and beat that. And then I know that here in Melbourne, you guys are especially competitive against Adelaide.
Yeah.
Right. And for those of you that live in Melbourne, I'll tell you right now, you guys have some competition. If you want to beat Adelaide or Brisbane, you better each bring 3 guests.
That's right. That's right. Well, tomorrow's the big day for Melbourne, and then Curt's got a couple weeks to relax a bit. He's got a couple other things on as well. So really excited about this time, and I just think this is a great year for Sisel. It's a great opportunity for everyone, and you know, the momentum's really kicked in. So
we're right on the forefront of that. And if we can hit this thing, I mean, right now, folks. I mean, if we hit it right now and we just pound it into everybody that the timing is just perfect, and get started. And really, there's a good way to get started. There's a better way to get started, and then there's the best way to get started. And really, if you're gonna do it as a business, the best way to get started is to buy the Wealth Builder Pack. And I'll tell you my reason why is because it doesn't let any money roll back to the company. If you don't buy the Wealth Builder, I'm telling you, and Katie can tell you this too. All the other leaders can tell you the same thing. If you don't buy the Wealth Builder, you're going to lose bonuses, you're going to lose commission, and that's going to roll back to the company. And why would you want to give the company your money? And you're going to use the products. I mean, for gosh sakes, you're going to use the products. And then what you want to do is every month you want to make sure that you want to have the 300 PV in volume. And I'm telling you right now, I do that every single month. I've never missed a single month. 300 PV every single month, and I do that again. And I'm going to stress this because I don't want any money rolling back to the company. I want it to go to Curt's pocket, not to someone else's pocket. And so that's one of the reasons I do that. If you do, like somebody said to me the other day, over in Perth, they said, "Oh yeah, but what about the shipping costs? What about the shipping costs?" And I said, well, if you have 300 PV, it's free. So there, I just solved the problem. Next.
Yep.
I mean, that's the big thing is that, I mean,
plus if you have 300, you solved the problem. Plus if you have 300 PV, you also get 8% back.
Oh, you get 8% back. Holy cow. Right? 300 PV. And Katie, people say, yeah, but then I got to order all those products. I don't know what I'm going to do with all those products. I mean, again, holy cow, Katie, I can't decide what products I'm not going to order.
Oh, I'm like that too. I mean, people will be shocked to see how much I order. I mean, I've got the dog on the supplements too, Dr. Curt.
My dog takes 200 PV worth of products himself. I mean, I wish they'd let him sign up so I could make some money off it.
You could sign him up as a distributor.
They won't let me do that though because he doesn't have a social security number.
Oh, that's funny. Anyway,
right.
Great. Well, we're 40 minutes in, and so maybe we should wrap it up. And
can you tell people again where that meeting is tomorrow?
Yes. So the meeting tomorrow for everyone watching is at the Matthew Flinders Hotel. It's in the suburb of Chadstone. It's about 20 minutes out of the CBD, and it starts at 4 p.m. and it will go to 7 p.m. Come along. We're going to have dinner afterwards in the bistro. So I'd love to see you there. And you can purchase the tickets on the door. Yeah, so come along.
Should we have a contest to see who gets to buy my dinner?
Yeah, we could do that.
We'll have a drawing for everybody that's there. We'll do a drawing, and if you win, you get to buy my dinner.
Actually, Curt, I am going to do a raffle there tomorrow. So for those that come, if you fill in the feedback form and you hand it in, we're going to raffle. I'm going to raffle a bottle of the new product. Now it's not available on the price list, but I'll take the person's details. As soon as it is, I'll order it for them and it'll get shipped to them. So that's on offer tomorrow. So come along, give your feedback, and you could win a bottle of the new product.
That's right. And I'll say this too, Katie. I mean, the person who invites the most guests for all of the meetings all across Australia and New Zealand, the person that invites the most guests, that you can't invite them, you have to bring them. The person that brings the most guests to all the meetings wins 2 bottles of the new product, right? The new product X, the XXX product, whatever Tom wants to call it. And we already know the name of it, but we're not going to release that until Tom says, hey, it's open to everybody. But so 2 bottles that. And on top of it, Katie, here's what I'm going to say. If you have more people at your meeting tomorrow than what they had in Brisbane, because Brisbane is winning so far, but if you have more people than Brisbane had, I'll give you another 2 free bottles that will go to the person that brings the most guests to your meeting tomorrow. But you have to beat Brisbane.
Okay. Great.
You have to beat Brisbane. That's the contest.
Excellent. Sounds fabulous. I'm super excited about tomorrow. Super excited for what's coming this year. Anyway, so I guess we'll wrap up there. And I want to thank everyone for being on the call today. Thank you if you've just watched the recording. This really is exciting times. And we look forward to seeing you on the next call.
All right. We'll see you all tomorrow.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.